Oh, hi there. So, as you might have noticed, I made some changes around my channel, my setup. I've gone full green screen, and I wanted to explain a little bit why. And in relation to that, I mean, recently I started doing some research on Jordan Peterson, and that led me to that rabbit hole known as Daily Wire, which kind of pushed me over the edge because they do green screen so effectively. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that, just because I find it interesting. But yeah, up front, so what's my rationale? Why did I switch to green screen? Usually I like to keep it real. I do enjoy watching channels where people record themselves in their living room or office or whatever. However, being on the spectrum, I also find that I don't like when pretty much all I have to look at is the person talking. I like my eyes to be able to roam, and we have some sort of expanse or details, maybe even geometrical details or something that catches my eye in the background. And that's all stuff that the green screen setup can provide. I can even switch backgrounds like on the drop of a hat now. And then, also the simplicity appeals to me. I mean, it's actually a lot more effort to set up all the lights and position the camera just right when you're like I did in earlier videos, sit on the bed and talk. That's actually quite difficult because you can't keep your setup between videos, for days or weeks at a time. So you have to remove everything and then you have to set up everything. It's very complex. With a green screen, I can just sit here at the desk and most stuff, I can just leave in place. And I can still have a nice room or expanse behind me, something calming, something uplifting, just some backgrounds themselves, can have a nice effect on the viewer. And it just removes a lot of friction. The quicker I go from idea for a video to actually sitting down, recording myself, the better. So I'll have some fun with it. I might even show some upscale living rooms or whatever, which is absolutely not how I live. But if it looks nice, I'll go with it. Now, on to some examples of channels that do green screen so well. And in my opinion, I'll have to talk about some Daily Wire channels here. And of course, you might say why are you even talking about those channels? They spew hate messages or whatever. And I have to admit, I watch everything. If channels have millions of viewers, even if I don't agree with everything or even most that they say, I'll still watch it just out of interest, what might be appealing about them or the opinions. And sometimes you find, sometimes they might have even good points. Nobody's wrong all the time. Sometimes can be pretty funny. Sometimes it's grating, sometimes it's upsetting, but then I can watch myself and go, can I find an ounce of commonality and understanding instead of just simply starting to hate on people? That's kind of second nature to me because, I've dated guys. Actually, I've mostly dated guys who are either conservative or libertarian. That comes with the territory if you're on the spectrum and you date guys on the spectrum. So I've had tons of these discussions in my life where we debated different things, and a lot of what the Daily Wire channels are about, that's very familiar to me. So if you're of the opinion, Daily Wire, it's all super right-wing, just stop watching now. But in my opinion, one of the hands-down best green screen setups that I've seen with all the channels I've watched is Matt Walsh's channel. And it took me actually quite a while to figure out that it's green screen. Maybe I'm just slow, but it took me watching several videos till I realized, wow, the sun's always just peeking over the mountains there. And I think the setup is so effective because, first of all, the coloring, the light, everything blends together. And then, of course, it's not like some stock photo or whatever. He actually has his books and, everything there in the background. And, who knows, it might even be an actual office with that view where they took that picture once. And I've actually seen that with a lot of YouTube channels, including some of these financial channels where the gurus take pictures of maybe their garage with a Lamborghini just once, or the chef's kitchen, and then they record themselves talking in front of it, and it looks like they're sitting there, but really, it's just a green screen. But yeah, let's rapidly go through some clips with his setup and then some other similar setups, because it seems like the Daily Wire channels, they all use that approach. And they actually change their backgrounds quite a lot, even within channels. And they have several channels: Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, Jordan Peterson now. Let's watch some.
Yeah, this is an interesting one because, first of all, I would never discourage someone from trying to repair a marriage, especially when you have kids.
Very, very savvy. I would even say the sticker, no matter what you think of his movie, but the sticker is pretty genius with that circular logic. And yeah, if you're interested in that whole hubbub last month, even I couldn't escape it. And then I searched on YouTube. You can probably find his whole movie or even large parts of it if you search for the title of his movie and then narrow clips by longer than 20 minutes. You'll probably find some reaction videos where you can watch it, which I recommend actually. It's kind of interesting. I expected something way more offensive than it was. Actually, let me quickly go here to the reviews. Yeah, so if you've only heard that his movie was, banned from Twitter, is like way too radical and transphobic, you will, be surprised that if you go on IMDb, it's like one very glowing review after another. There are things that I hated about it, like when he films himself with a tribe and, some other moments, but there are also like very funny moments. And I actually tried to find a really good takedown why people were so upset about the movie and why it was banned. And I really couldn't find super specific, accurate criticism. Because a lot of the negative critiques, they start with, Matt Walsh is a dangerous super right-wing activist and he's, probably a child molester because he's Catholic. Geez, I didn't want to get into that, but, I found it interesting, and yeah, so if you are interested in the current culture wars and stuff like that, it's almost, you owe it to yourself to really look at it, because that's one of the largest simmering conflicts that's going on in our society right now. But anyway, on to the next.
So that I have no idea whether he even got my order or not. And then when the food comes out.
Yeah, so again, always the same time of day in the background.
It'll be clear that he didn't get the order right, but I'll just leave with the wrong order. Because it's not worth the trouble of trying to get a practically catatonic customer service worker to correct them. That is the Burger King experience, no matter which location you happen to be patronizing. And the same goes for Disney's cash grab remakes and for almost everything that Disney produces, even if they aren't remakes, because after all...
I can see how a lot of people find him grating. However, he's sort of a master at that sarcasm, deadpan, dad jokes rant. But if you watch his videos, first of all, they're kind of edited to death with tons of jump cuts and inserts and a lot of cringe stuff. And, he's said some really awful stuff too. So
it's not like Disney only makes remakes. They also make sequels, and they make sequels to remakes. It was great to appear on the show. It was an honor. It was surreal too, because I think I started.
So it's kind of weird here. The lighting seems to be different because he definitely doesn't blend in as well. I don't know why he's wearing a blue suit that just definitely doesn't fit in there. And he looks a lot shorter, so it's kind of funny. They couldn't pull it off quite as well with this video.
Listening to Joe Rogan's podcast, I don't know, eight or 9 years ago maybe. And it was I thought, really good conversation, the first half of which, about 90 minutes, was dedicated to the film, What is a Woman? People don't want to be around her. It probably is because of her god-awful personality. I, for one, would rather take a bath in battery acid than be stuck in a room with her for any length of time. And that's got nothing to do with her appearance. It has everything to do with her demeanor.
Yeah, and he's very, of course, very inflammatory and stuff. But you see here, he's definitely using a different background, but still has that banjo there.
Her attitude, tone of voice, and just way of being.
I just love the way they do these green screens, because really a casual viewer will not realize it's a green screen. And it jives so well with this wholesome message that they're trying to convey, cozy, comforting. It's effective.
One of the things I found in my practice was that...
So let's go to Jordan Peterson, who's also part of the Daily Wire now. And he also uses green screen. Again, maybe not as easy to tell. But yeah, again, these people might all be sitting like in nondescript offices in front of a green screen, and then, editors add those nice cozy surroundings.
But this is useful for people who are trying to embark on an intimate relationship. Is you need to
and
talk.
Of course, I could be wrong. There's always that tiny fraction that maybe that is his actual house. I doubt it though.
Talk to your wife about the domestic economy and the practicalities of your life together for about 90 minutes a week.
And the way I would think here is maybe that the table is real and the green screen is right behind the sofa and the table. But then again, maybe it's in a room. I can't really tell. What do you think?
And if you don't do that, you will become isolated and lonely, and you'll develop a backlog of communication. And if you don't fix that, you'll end up divorced, and then you'll be fixing it for the rest of your life.
Absolutely, absolutely. And whenever, man, backlog of communication, I love that.
And the person he talks with here, I would think that's a green screen too. Maybe they are recording this interview going back and forth, both having the green screens in the background, and then editors, pull it all together with nice surroundings.
I love that idea, as though I'm just putting rocks in a backpack, and eventually that backpack's going to wear me down if I don't have a regular practice of communication. And again, somehow this became a moral or characterological issue. I think it's the skills issue, man. I think taking some of the drama and smoke out of it and just saying, hey, I don't know how to tell you, wife. I've never seen it done. I didn't see it at my house growing.
Yeah, wow, over 7 million subscribers. I find if something is that much, essentially mainstream, or so many people feel they connect to it, I feel it's very dangerous then to just ban it or write it off. And of course, nobody tried to ban Jordan B. Peterson, but certainly he's very controversial too. Maybe not as controversial as Matt Walsh.
Society.
See, now here I feel, they are actually sitting there. That's actually a room. Could even be like a hotel room somewhere, like a mini lobby or something of that kind.
What he called the inversion of praxis, the social conditioning to rain down on people and actually reify the transformation of society. So,
and then you can have more of a moving camera, or more different camera angles.
That casual kind of moralizing, the only reason...
Again, I would think this is, again, green screen here. Always very homey and nice.
You think the way you are is because you're trying to justify yourself. First of all, that cuts both ways. And I think it is worth taking it seriously. You have to examine your own bias in order to think straight. I used to tell my graduate students to triple, double, triple.
And again, I like green screen here because, his stare, his gaze makes me a bit uncomfortable, the way he stares at the camera. So it's nice if you can look around and, oh, look at that furniture. There could even be a little bit more here, but he looks a little bit more tan here.
Quadruple check their statistics and to try to make the results they obtained go away. And the catastrophes that are associated with that.
Wow, and here we have, yet another, which looks to me like a green screen setup. It looks like he almost sits on the sofa, but not quite.
Still playing themselves out. And it isn't obvious to me at all what can be done about that.
I quickly realized that you always want to have some plants in the background. I think that anything natural, looking at some plants or trees, can be a nice contrast to people talking or the real, cerebral stuff. I think that's partly why in reality TV shows you always have like long shots of people talking, then you have B-roll that's always showing some beautiful street or trees or nature or surroundings before it goes back on people's faces. You almost need that to cleanse the palate, just like somebody uses coffee beans to, between checking out different colognes.
We might see a return to something like...
So I don't think Jordan Peterson's home has window air conditioners. But again, plants here. And we have him talking with Mike Pence, who also sits in front of a green screen.
Blessed normality. And that's a compliment, because I think the times when...
And if that's a living room, like where would he sit? It almost like he sits where the coffee table would be, more or less. Pretty obvious green screen. It's funny when you start looking at it. I found it fascinating to always figure out, is somebody in front of a green screen or could this be a room?
When politics gets radically interesting, something has gone dreadfully wrong. Like, I'd rather see something approximating a sane and normative administration than a continual, exciting, like even hyper-charismatic battle. Let me delve into...
So he's basically telling Mike Pence it's nice to be boring?
That a little bit. You just outlined your qualifications.
Well, I'm very humbled by those words. And, it actually makes me think of another time, maybe a century ago. And I'm not someone that looks backwards.
And again, I think that's a green screen. Classic.
Who wants to turn the clock back, we could stop that conversation.
But when you think about it, it does feel a little bit deceptive. When you realize people are not really sitting where they pretend to sit. Which is why I'm making a whole video about that I'll start the same thing and, use backgrounds that are not the real location where I'm filming my videos.
Far between these
Probably a green screen.
Click on the link below if you want to learn more. And thank you for watching and listening. I was looking at interventions.
And another kind of green screen. It's amazing how many different backgrounds they have. And sometimes it works better than in other cases. Like here, I feel the table is way too high given where Jordan Peterson is sitting. Is he sitting on a little child's stool?
To improve people's lives. And I knew at that point...
Yeah, I haven't seen something yet that beats, Matt Walsh's, Tennessee, rural, downtown, sun setting over the mountains setup.
Now, it's interesting to me that Kesha...
So this I found cringe because her table is moving, the camera is panning around her, and the background stays static.
Still allowed to be in the public sphere. If there's one woman that deserves to be canceled, who is at the forefront of all things Me Too, like Me Too before it was even hip to be Me Too, it was Kesha.
Yeah, another green screen here, but I think they're not putting as much effort into her setups.
Can I be your vice president?
Oh, that's very interesting. Wow, what a good choice that would be. That would be fantastic.
Trump Owens, 24.
So,
that there is a person who has...
See, his table also moves the same way, but the background moves with it. So I'm very interested here, like... Maybe it's not a green screen. Maybe that's his actual studio. I mean, it looks like maybe it would be fake, but there's like different camera angles. And again, it's moving here. And of course, you could do that in combination with a green screen, but I'm not sure here.
Literal face tattoos. So this is like face tattoo syndrome all over. Who calls herself Sexy Red.
Yeah, Ben Shapiro. I find the most grating of the ones we've seen so far. But I feel he's like missing that bit of humor from Matt Walsh, or that, intellectualism or academic knowledge of Jordan Peterson. So, yeah.
She apparently has become a bit of a thing. She's like in the Hot 100 now because of a song titled Pound Town, which is about the glories of Shakespeare, as you might imagine. and the joys of the works of Ray Vaughan Williams. Two separate axes from left to right. On the x-axis, it shows communism and collectivism, to neoliberalism and libertarianism on the right. And then on the y-axis, it goes authoritarian fascism down to anarchism and libertarianism. We'll see how accurate it is. If the scale is correct in any way, I will end up in the right libertarian category. I mean, that's obviously where I am. I think I'm just going to assume that their premise is wrong and put strongly disagree, because transnational corporations have been a lot more helpful to humanity. Video shows the officers with battering rams and guns sweeping through the dark villa before escorting Tate into a car. The brothers in April had allegedly detained two young women to the authorities.
Yeah, if that green screen is definitely more sophisticated. And leave a comment if you are a video editor and you would definitely say that this is green screened somehow.
Oh, so much life-saving work. The life-saving of mocking Catholics and promoting sexually deviant behavior. Like, truly astonishing work there.
I just don't find him pleasant to listen to at all. I mean, I can even find some enjoyment of like Jordan Peterson when it, he makes you think, and some of the things he says sound really smart. But Ben Shapiro,
who make up the diversity of the Dodgers family. Oh, so nice, so wonderful. So they start telling
so he is definitely green screen.
Gandalf that he actually is Sauron, and because Gandalf has been hit with the stupid stick, he thinks that maybe he's Sauron, so he's gonna become evil, and he has to be informed by Nori. When Gandalf is not clear what he is, you have type stuff.
Yeah, I got to research if or how many people say that Ben Shapiro is autistic. Definitely some of this rambling and really rapid fire monotone makes me feel, I'm getting the vibe here. Yeah, like a fake looking green screen here.
It's easy to despair of Western civilization. But maybe marriage will be revitalized by the fact that the alternatives really, really suck.
Yeah, so I recorded the whole thing and now realized that the window was too small. I should have showed the setups more clearly, but hopefully it worked out anyway. And I just wanted to, I don't know, it struck me as really eye-opening once I realized how many channels use green screen, and that some use it really effectively, and how it can actually have a psychological effect on you. So sorry for using the Daily Wire here, but I think they're among the channels that use it best. But maybe some channels use green screen, and it's so great that I wouldn't even have thought of picking them as examples, because you can't tell at all. So let me know if you know some interesting channels that use a fantastic green screen setup. But yeah, just thinking it all through and then looking how effective it is to use green screen with nice expansive backgrounds and rooms. And I can even have some fun with it and use some like weirder setups and use backgrounds that maybe appeal to the autistic eye, with I don't know, some technical stuff, geometrical stuff, pattern stuff, moving water, whatever. I'll definitely look forward to experimenting around with that, and then having less on my shoulders as the face talking, having more stuff on the screen. And it'll help with editing, because in the past, if I sat on the bed and if I maybe was too close to the wall or there were weird shadows or whatever, nothing I could do about it after I filmed the footage. But now, I have more control over the different elements and can even test out different backgrounds to see how they match, like maybe with my clothes or hair or whatever. So this video turned out another one where I just ramble about some clips and channels. And thank you so much for sticking with me to the end on this one. And I see you in my next video. Bye.